How can two people sleep in the same bed for 35 years and still die as strangers? That question came to me at 47 in the morning when I reached for the other side of my bed and felt nothing but cold air. That was when I understood something worse than death. My husband died believing we were fine. My name is Eleanor Whitman. I'm 72 years old. My husband, Robert Whitman, died on March 17th, 2020, on the kitchen floor of our home in Lakewood, Ohio. People always ask, was it sudden? They mean his heart. But distance is never sudden. It grows quietly until it feels normal. When I saw him lying there that morning, I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just thought, so this is how it ends. Not love, just us. And that thought terrified me, because it meant I had already let go, long before he did. I wake up early now. No alarm. Habit stays when people leave. I reached for him the way I always had. Same side of the bed. Cold. That question came back again. How did we get here? We bought this bed together years ago. Argued about firmness. Laughed about getting old. Toward the end, I couldn't remember the last time I noticed his warmth. That's how love disappears. Quietly, without anyone noticing. I looked at myself in the mirror. Gray hair, a tired face. Not tired from age, tired from remembering. I whispered his name. Robert. The house didn't answer. This house on Maple Street has heard everything. Every laugh, every silence. Every night we went to bed without touching. We bought it in 1991. We thought a house would protect us. It didn't. In the kitchen, 2 chairs still sit at the table. Robert always sat across from me, coffee in hand, phone nearby. He used to read the newspaper out loud. Then one day, he stopped. I didn't ask why. That's what hurts the most now. Not what I did wrong, but what I stopped asking. I made coffee for one. There are still 2 mugs in the cabinet. I only took one. It didn't hurt. That scared me, because grief had become normal. People say we were a strong couple. 35 years. No scandals. No shouting. But silence can look like peace. And peace can quietly erase love. We met at a barbecue near Edgewater Park in 1986. He offered me the last hot dog. That's how he loved. Quiet, simple. We used to talk for hours. Dreams everywhere. We thought talking would always be easy. We didn't know it takes effort. Just like love. In 2015, we forgot our anniversary. Both of us. We laughed. Said we'd celebrate later. We never did. That's how marriages end. Not with betrayal, but with postponed moments. People ask if I saw it coming. They mean his heart. But I keep asking something else. When did our marriage actually die? Because I don't think it was the morning he did. I think it was years earlier. I just believed there would be time. Later assumes forever, and forever is not promised. Before silence felt normal, love was loud. It laughed. It interrupted. It stayed up too late and talked about things that didn't matter. Robert and I met in the summer of 1986 at a barbecue near Edgewater Park in Cleveland. I still remember the smell of charcoal and the way he asked if I wanted the last hot dog, not because it was romantic, but because he noticed. We talked for hours that night about our jobs, our fears, the parts of life we hadn't figured out yet. When I went home, my feet hurt, my face hurt from smiling, and my heart felt strangely calm. We married 2 years later. Late marriage, people said, mature love. We believed that meant easier love. In our first apartment, we had mismatched furniture and a kitchen table that wobbled. We didn't mind. We used to sit on the floor with our backs against the couch, eating cheap food, talking until midnight, sometimes until 2 in the morning. We talked about children we weren't sure we wanted, about money we didn't have, about who we'd become in 10 years. Back then, conversation came naturally. Silence felt wrong. If one of us was quiet, the other noticed. I remember Robert once saying, "You're quiet today. What's going on?" No one had ever asked me that before. I fell in love with that question. On weekends, we drove without destinations, windows down, music loud. We believed time was endless. We moved into the house on Maple Street in 1991. I cried the first night we slept there. Happy tears. I told Robert, "This feels permanent." He smiled and said, "That's the point." We cooked together back then, burned food, laughed about it. Dinner wasn't just eating, it was catching up. "How was your day?" meant more than a polite question. It meant listening. When one of us spoke, the other stayed. No phones, no screens, just voices. Looking back, that's what I miss the most. Not the house, not the routines. Being heard. We used to touch without thinking, hands brushing, falling asleep facing each other. We believed love, once built, would hold itself together. We didn't know love needs maintenance, just like houses do. But at that time, love felt unbreakable. We were sure distance only happened to other people. People who didn't try. People who stopped caring. We were certain we would notice if something started to fade. That was our mistake. Because love doesn't disappear overnight. It waits quietly, and one day you wake up and realize the room isn't as loud as it used to be. In the next part, I'll tell you about the moment things began to shift. Not with an argument, not with betrayal, but with something far more ordinary. Success. People think success brings people closer. Sometimes it just brings them home later. Robert got the promotion in the fall of 1998. Senior management. A corner office. Longer hours. I remember how proud he looked. When he told me, I hugged him and said, "You earned this." I meant it. What I didn't say was, "I hope it doesn't take you away from me." At first, it was small. He came home an hour late. Then too. Dinner went from the table to the microwave. How was your day? Became, did you eat? We told ourselves it was temporary, just a busy season, just until things settled. They never did. I started eating alone, not because I wanted to, because waiting felt childish. I told myself I was being understanding, strong, independent. But understanding can quietly turn into silence, and silence can become a habit. Some nights, I'd fall asleep on the couch, with the TV talking to itself. Robert would come home quietly, kiss my forehead, and whisper, "Sorry I'm late." I'd pretend not to wake, not because I was angry, because I didn't want to start missing him while he was standing right there. That's a strange kind of loneliness. We stopped fighting, not because things were perfect, because fighting requires energy, and we were both tired. His phone started staying on the table, face down, not hiding anything, just always there. Work emails replaced conversations. Meetings replaced meals. When we did sit together, we talked about schedules, not feelings. Once, in 2003, I waited up for him. It was past midnight. When he walked in, I said, "I miss you." He looked surprised, not defensive, confused. He said, "But I'm right here." That was the moment I realized we were living into different definitions of together. After that, I stopped saying it, not because I stopped feeling it, because I didn't know how to explain it. We started living carefully, avoiding heavy conversations, protecting the peace. But peace built on avoidance is just distance with manners. By 2008, we knew each other's routines better than each other's thoughts. I knew when he'd be late. He knew when I'd be asleep. We called it adulthood, maturity, but really, we were drifting without noticing the shore disappear. And the scariest part, we still believed we were fine. In the next part, I'll tell you what it's like to live in the same house on completely different clocks. By 2009, we were living in the same house, but on completely different clocks. Robert woke before dawn. I slept until the sun hit the window. We passed each other in the kitchen, like strangers who happened to share a roof. I used to pour his coffee while he read the paper. Now I poured my own, and he left without saying a word. How was your day? Became, did you feed the cat? We stopped noticing the little things, the warmth of a hand, the way he laughed at my jokes. Even the smell of his cologne faded. I can pinpoint the exact night we stopped talking. It was January 12th, 2015. We forgot our anniversary, both of us. We laughed anyway, ordered takeout, said we'd celebrate next weekend. We never did. That was the beginning of our routine. Separate schedules, separate bedrooms, separate lives. We filled the spaces with silence and convinced ourselves it was peaceful. We were careful not to fight. We were careful not to look too closely. We were careful with our words, our hearts, our eyes. I remember watching him sit in the living room, on his laptop, typing emails, eyes flicking to the screen. Every so often, a sigh, a stretch, a glance at the clock. I could have asked what he was thinking, but I didn't. I never asked, and he never offered. Distance has a way of hiding in plain sight. Even when you share a meal, you're still alone. By 2017, I could spend a whole week without hearing his voice beyond good morning and good night. And the strangest part, we still smiled at each other. We still went to dinner. We still said, I love you. The love didn't disappear. It just stopped demanding attention. I kept thinking, we'll fix it someday. We'll talk again. We'll remember. But someday doesn't come. If you don't make it come, I started to notice the quiet moments more than the loud ones. The evenings when he read alone. The weekends I spent in the garden while he played music through headphones. We existed in parallel lives, under one roof, but never together. It's strange to realize how easy it is to live next to someone and forget to live with them. And the saddest part, neither of us realized what we were losing until it was gone. In the next part, I'll tell you about the night he tried to reach me, the night he asked to talk, the night I said, "Can it wait?" It was a Tuesday night in November 2018. I remember because the wind rattled the windows and the house felt colder than usual. Robert came home late, as he always did. I was in the kitchen, stirring tea. I didn't really want. He stood in the doorway for a long moment, just looked at me. "Eleanor," he said softly, "do you want to talk?" I froze, not because I didn't want to, but because I wasn't sure I remembered how. I smiled faintly. "Can it wait?" I asked, and he nodded, a little disappointed, but understanding. That night, I lay in bed awake, listening to the hum of the heater, wondering when we stopped talking and started avoiding. We had decades together. We shared a life, a house, memories, and yet we were strangers in our own home. I thought about all the small things I missed. The way he used to brush my hair back. The way he laughed at my clumsy cooking. The late-night drives with no destination. All gone. Replaced by schedules, emails, and silence. I told myself it didn't matter. We were busy. Life was complicated. There was time, but time is cruel. By March 2020, I woke up to an empty bed, cold air, a quiet house, and Robert gone. I didn't scream. I didn't cry immediately. I just looked at him, lying there on the kitchen floor, and thought, so this is how it ends. Not love, just us. That question hit me harder than anything. How did we get here? When did we stop noticing each other? When did we become strangers while sharing the same house? I walked past him and made coffee for one. 2 mugs still in the cabinet, but I only took one. That morning, I realized I had been living with the consequences of decades of small silences, unasked questions, and postponed conversations. That night in November 2018, when he wanted to talk, I chose my comfort over connection, and that choice stayed with me. We had all the time in the world, and I wasted it, thinking later would come, believing love would endure on its own. It doesn't. It demands attention. It demands presence. It demands effort. I failed. We both did. And now, I live with the echoes of what we never said. If you're listening to me now, lying next to someone who is still here, take a moment. Ask the questions. Say the words. Don't wait. In the next part, I'll tell you what it's like to live after someone you love disappears, and how the silence continues even after they're gone. After he died, the house felt bigger, too big. Empty chairs, empty rooms, empty conversations that never happened. I walked from room to room, touching things he used to touch. The newspaper he left folded on the counter, the mug he always used, the pen he dropped by the chair. Everything reminded me that he had been here, and I didn't notice. I found emails he'd sent me over the years, little notes he never read aloud, thoughts he never shared, plans we never made. It was like discovering a stranger I used to love and realizing I had lost him long before the body went cold. I asked myself the question again. When did we stop being us? Was it the promotion, the busy schedules, the missed anniversaries, the silences we mistook for peace? Yes, all of it. Every small moment, every postponed conversation, every night I chose comfort over connection. I failed him. We both failed, but the responsibility is mine because I had the chance to fight for us, and I didn't. I sit in this house now, alone, still hearing echoes of laughter, still feeling the warmth of hands I haven't held for decades, still wondering if he ever noticed how far we had drifted. And here's what I've learned. Love doesn't die suddenly. It fades, quietly, slowly, when we stop choosing it. If you're listening to this, lying next to someone you still have, don't wait. Don't assume there will always be tomorrow. Ask the questions. Have the conversations. Touch their hands. Look in their eyes. Say the words. Don't let silence become your companion. I would give anything to hear him say, "Do you want to talk?" Just one more time. And to answer, "Yes, but there is no more time. Only memory, only regret, only lessons that arrive too late." If I could leave you with one thing, it's this. Choose love every day. Notice it. Nurture it. Speak it. Because later is the most dangerous word in life, and forever is never promised. I am Eleanor Whitman. I lived 35 years with my husband, and I lost him while he was still here. Don't make my mistake.